10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo. Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this January 7th, 2019 evening. And Chris, this is the first show of the new year. Happy New Year, and I guess we're off to a bang again. Yeah, so we're having a baby. I don't know what it is yet. People keep asking, what do you know? What is it? Boy or girl? I don't know. It's been 4 weeks. I don't even like to tell people this quickly because, you know, the things go wrong the first 8 weeks. I hate
everything can go wrong.
Yeah.
I don't want to. So that's why let's talk about it so we don't jinx you.
Yeah, well, we're just mentioning it. She took the verification test and she's definitely pregnant. So let's see what happens. You know, whatever. You know, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And you know,
that house is going to be either it's going to be loud, or if you get another boy, the house is going to be say goodbye to it.
Yeah,
because
we're
I
fine.
used to have an impeccable architectural house.
The boys destroy everything.
And my eye, you know, from like looking at bodybuilders, you know, you hold water in your hamstrings. I mean, you get a pretty good eye.
Yeah.
And I like this type of stuff, and it's like, another ding. Here's my saying: can we just have anything nice? Can we just get?
No, my father said that to me years ago. He said you can't have anything nice with your kids. When you have kids, and I told my wife that. She's like, "Oh, you know, yeah." He said, "Absolutely." And the funny thing is, my son is.
We have tenants with beautiful apartments. Can we have something nice?
My son, we have a new refrigerator. My son has put like 4 dinks in it already because he slams the kitchen chairs into it so he can climb up to get to the top shelf of the refrigerator. I told him, man. I said, don't even worry about it. Don't even let it bother you. We'll get new when they get older. We'll just get new stuff. I said.
That's exactly what I'm planning on. I see door jams with like. This morning, the 5-year-old was flying through the house on a scooter, you know, and he's going around the corner. Of course, I come up and I encourage him, and then he bangs into the door, and it like chips off a door. It's not a door you get at Home Depot. It's like it's like an architectural salvage.
Like a $1,000 door, yeah.
Yeah, it's something that somebody found in the junkyard. They refurbished it, refinished it.
Right. We better find that guy to refurbish it again because, I tell you, I can't even blame my son for this. I broke one of the doors. You know how you have the cabinet doors that cover the garbage. You know, when you open it up, the garbage is in there. And it's like I somehow opened the door too fast and it cracked the door. It literally broke off at the hinge. The wood broke. And I'm like, what the frick? I'm not going to redo the whole kitchen. So for like a year and a half, we've had no door in there. There probably wasn't a door when you came to visit me last year.
No, but I'm the type I walk. It wouldn't bother me because it's not my house.
But I was worrying me because it was starting to look like my dad. I was thinking it's going to turn into my dad's kitchen with the rubber bands holding all the cabinets together. So I tracked down. Luckily, inside the cabinets, there was the name of the people who made the cabinet. So I called them up. I'm like, I need another door. Gave them the model number. They're like, we can make you another door, but the problem is matching the paint.
No, they can do that. They
said, they do it in Home Depot. You bring them. Yeah. He's like, it's not so easy with stain. So I got the door made.
Stain,
I get the door made. I don't even. I might have told you so. I get the door made.
No, you didn't.
$115. I'm like, all right, that's not so bad. It wasn't that big of a blunder. She's like, now you got to take it to the paint matching store. There's another place like in the back of this. Like thank God for GPS. I would have never found this place. It was in Fort Myers someplace. I pull in there. I'm like, I bring the old cabinet door and the new one. I'm like, can you match this paint? She's like, yeah, but I'm gonna have to run a whole special color for you. So it's gonna be $250. I'm like, the door was only $150. Yeah. I said, how could the paint be $250? Does that make sense? She's like, I don't know what to tell you if you don't want it. So basically, you got to do it. There's no other option, basically. I'm like, how come you take a chip of paint to Home Depot and for $15 they could make me a gallon of paint? She's like, well, this is a customized color. I say, what's the difference?
Yeah.
I should have tried Home Depot. I don't think Home Depot could have done it. So she's like, fine, I'll do it.
No, they can't do it at Home Depot. They got to.
I said, fine, do it. So as she's writing up the thing, she's the owner of the place. It's like this it's like in the back of this like whatever. They probably do big business. They refurbish everything, old homes and stuff like that. That's what they really started out in. But they do custom paints and stuff like that. So she starts asking me, I don't even know how we got into talking about losing weight. Oh, she stopped smoking. I said, oh no. She said, we started talking about health and fitness. She's like, oh, I said, yeah, I used to be a professional bodybuilder or whatever. She's like, I own a nutrition company. Oh, really? I'm looking for fat burners and blah, blah, blah. So before we know, I gave her a whole seminar on how to lose weight. So when I came and picked the door up, she's like, if you give me cash, $180. I said, I'll take it. So it only cost me $180 plus the $150 for the original door, or whatever it was, $115 I think it was. So it was a $300 blunder on my part. And so now I'm a lot more careful opening the cabinet doors now.
Well, you could, yeah. Well, that's just you got plenty of time to get. Well, what you'll do is, because your kids are very young, your house will get so destroyed that you'll just say,
I won't care anymore.
Yeah, you won't. You'll be like me and just don't even care really anymore. I used to freak out.
Look, it is what it is. My wife wants to change the floors in the kitchen. She doesn't like the bamboo floors that are there because they're kind of like scratched up from the other people had a dog who lived here. And
I didn't notice any scratches unless they get scratched.
There's a couple gouges in it. It's not that bad. She doesn't like because you can't clean it as well because she likes to clean things. She wants tile, or I wanted marble. She wants tile.
Yeah, I like marble too.
The problem with the marble is that it's higher than a tile, and then all the door jambs are not going to be even, and then they'll have to fix all the doors. So it's almost not worth doing it. And then the tile is great, but how can we live in a house with no kitchen? In other words, they're going to take out. They're going to start doing all this banging, and dust is going to be everywhere. And it's almost like the idea of now I feel like my dad. The idea of having to like relocate the kids for for 2 weeks is just too much for us to handle right now, especially now that we have a new baby. Once we thought we were done, we were like, oh, now we can start doing things and we can go to Disney. Now all the plans are out the window.
You got to take, like I said last week, I said you got to take those little short day trips. I used to take a little short hour-and-a-half day trips up to overnight trips.
We're done.
When they turn like 5, 4, and 3.
Yep, that's in like 3 years, right?
Yeah, and then what you can do is when they're 5, 4, and 3, you can take them like an hour away to some little kiddie playland or something, and then stay in a hotel. They love hotels. Kids love hotels.
I gotta wait till I'm like 54 to do that. So we're back to square one. So anyways, I'm trying to. So now I'm going to get. Now I'm on panic mode because now I just got my shoulder done. It's feeling better. It's starting to come around. But it's gonna take 6 weeks, and then finally I can start doing some stuff. But now my wife's like, well, I'm pregnant now. I'm gonna give birth in September. You got to get this quad fixed. I said, quad. I was thinking about doing it next year, and she's like, well, then you can't do it next year. I'm gonna be giving birth. There's gonna be a baby in that. I was like, oh my god. Now it's messing up my mindset. So now I'm in panic. Now I have to get. So now I went and got an ultrasound. I can't do the MRI because I got metal in me. So I had to do the ultrasound, and the tech. It wasn't a tech. It was actually the doctor. We actually requested that the actual radiologist do it. And at first he didn't want to come in, and he's like, "Oh, let the tech do it." I'm like, "Believe me, get in here. You'll find it very interesting." And of course, as soon as he put the ultrasound thing on me, he's like, "Ooh, this is interesting. What did you do?"
Yeah, it was in India.
I said tear. 3 revision surgeries, still no good.
Well, 900-pound squats and deadlifts for 15
You know how? You notice how I don't.
You got to give them the.
I don't give them the backstory. I'm like,
because then if you tell them the backstory, then they'll say, we can't fix that. 900-pound squats, we can't fix that.
Right.
Fell downstairs in India. Oh, no problem. We can take care of you.
He's like, you do. He actually told me that there was some attachment of the quad still. The medial head was still somehow attached, but the majority of the quad is not attached. So I said, well, I knew I could have told you that. I said, I could see it. I have a medialis head on my quadricep. I just have nothing else. Everything else is retracted. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get it fixed. No one. I'm looking for someone who thinks outside the box, and so I'm exploring my. Options at this point. The idea, the shoulder was bad enough, but the idea, I know what the quad is already. I know what to expect, and it's nothing fucking pleasant. It's 8 weeks in an immobilizer with crutches, so I can't really do the surgery till I can use crutches. And because I just had a shoulder replacement, if I use crutches now, first of all, I have no strength. I'll dislocate the shoulder. So there's a very small window of when I can get this thing done, and
Well, how is it? How is the shoulder right now?
It's good. It feels good. No, it feels good. I have to just be careful not to use it too much because it's starting to feel good, and that's when you'll do some. You'll just
wait a minute. Are you going to be one of those families with? I've seen them before with a stroller with 3.
I don't know. My wife mentioned the stroller with 2.
It's a 3-person stroller.
Well, Logan doesn't really sit in the stroller today. He likes to either run around or we put him in the back of the shopping cart. So probably we need a double stroller. That's what we were just talking about. The 2 babies, You
know what? At that age, though, when in like a couple of years, when they're 2, 3, and 4 or something, there's that period where you can't leave the premise. You won't be able to leave Snakeville because the diapers and the snacks and the bottles and the food.
It takes forever to leave now. We go to the bagel store in the morning on Saturday and Sunday morning. It takes freaking forever. And I can't even do anything now, so my wife's been doing everything. The preparation to leave. And my son is such a staller and procrastinator. And you can ask him, aren't you hungry? No, it's all right. You can't even use like food as an enticement for him. He's totally my dad. He's just like he's on his own schedule in his head. He'll eat. He doesn't care if I'll skip dinner. I don't care. He'll eat 2 bites. I'm done. His new thing is he likes to take his dish of food and go and just dump it in the garbage. And if you try to stop him, he'll just dump it on the floor.
Why? Why?
I don't know. He's like, done. I'm like, just leave it. I'll eat it. Done. He wants to get rid of it because he doesn't want us to try to make him eat. And the new thing is we're trying to not feed him. We're trying to get him to eat himself, which he can do, by the way, easily. He knows how to easily feed himself, but he's so lazy and he loves to be served.
That you got the ladder. He loves to be served.
Yeah,
sure.
so we're like trying to starve him out now. But he doesn't. He's smart. And when he's hungry, he eats. And then when he doesn't really want to eat, and he's not that hungry, we'll take it or leave it. So. He's going to be tough, I can tell. He's like I said, it's dealing with my dad. I'm getting payback.
Well, maybe you and Amanda. Let's see. Can someone watch? Who can watch the kids to allow you and her to
No one.
Get a one night?
No one. She won't leave him with anyone. Her mom can do it, but she won't do it. She won't leave.
No, this is I'll actually send it to you, Dave, so the listeners don't think I'm kidding. I'm sending you. This is baby people. Read that text. This just came in. And this is very common, actually. Let's see if it came in.
Let me see.
It reminds me of you and Amanda. Read the last sentences. I think you've got them by like 5 years. So.
We haven't slept in 3 years.
There's people who want to rent an Airbnb. They said, away from our kids, we haven't slept in 3 years.
Yeah, you know what? They'll go away on vacation. They'll sleep the whole time. They won't even get to do anything.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do when I went to Dubai. I wanted to sleep the whole time I was there.
Yeah. No, you were looking forward to going there just to sleep on the plane.
Just
that
to
you
play
wouldn't have
14 hours I slept on the plane, yeah. Continuously.
Most sleep you've had in 3 years.
Yeah, it's true. Now with the next one coming, forget about it. I'm done. So, bad news in our bodybuilding industry. Another death. It seems like every week we report on another one. Darryl Stafford, who you probably know he's a 90s bodybuilder. He was 58 years old. I know he was battling a pretty bad case of diabetes. I think it ran in his family, and he had a heart attack. His training partner, or one of the girls he trains, contacted me. She's an IFBB pro too, and she gave me all the scoop on the whole thing, and it was just a terrible situation. He hadn't been feeling well. He'd been sick for several months, and he had a heart attack and died. Terrible. Now I saw Sean Ray had posted a picture of him and Darryl on stage against each other, so they must have been contemporaries during that time frame. Yeah,
that was Atlantic City, I remember, right?
Oh, was that the Nationals that Sean competed against him?
Yeah. Right, Stafford was second. I think J.J. Marsh was third. I think he beat J.J. or something. He was really good that year.
Yeah, he was good. So.
But he came back many years later, right?
Yeah, I believe he did. He was good. He was like a perennial guy, always right in there, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And it seems like a lot of guys are dying. And then someone, I always get these emails from people saying, "Why is everyone dying in their 50s?" Because everyone who's in their 50s now is in panic mode because just too many people. I said, well, there were guys dropping dead last year who were in their 40s. So I mean, if you made it to your 50s, you might be all right. Look, people die every day. I see a lot of people. I say to myself every day, I'm like, that guy's going to die. He's not going to live a long life. You could just tell. Another guy died. I don't know if you know this guy. He was kind of like a bodybuilding fan, I guess you could call him. I don't know, if you want to give him a different name. But the guy Jerry Triano, he was like a New York fixture.
Triano.
You remember Jerry Triano? I
don't
bet you Bob knows him. He was he had contacted me when I first started competing. He was one of these guys who just was like a super fan and nice guy, big heavy set over, just disheveled looking guy. Would go to every show, and he knew all the top male bodybuilders. And he actually, here's an ironic story. I heard he had cancer and died, so I would like to send prayers out, obviously, to his family and stuff like that. He was a good guy. He was a little strange, but no one ever, people liked him. He was a kind of a normal guy, had a real job, and he worked for Random House. He was I don't know what he did at that publishing house there, but when he was contacting me and as a fan, so to speak, and asking me questions, I said, and he told me, and I saw in his signature on email, this was going back to the early 2000s, that he was that he worked for Random House. I said, I'm thinking my dad at that point was still like going obsessive about trying to get his book published.
Oh yeah.
So right. I said, hey Jerry, I said, do you know any of the readers there who might want to read my dad's book? I said, because sometimes it's just putting it in front of the right people is helpful. And I don't know if he's probably was like, who knows what he did there. He probably wasn't. I'm sure he went and talked to someone, and he did get them to read the book, and whoever read it liked it, but they weren't taking on any new authors or whatever that bullshit rhetoric they give you is. But the guy liked it. He did like it was the Mafia Leader's Cookbook, one of my father's fictional novels that he wound up self-publishing himself a couple years later. But Jerry was nice. He would call my dad would call him up, and they were talking a lot. So he was a good dude, and I just had found. You know who told me? Rich Piana's mom told me. Rich Piana's mom texts me. We text back and forth, and she's like, "Jerry died. Can you believe it?" I'm like, "Jerry who?" There's so many people dropping dead in this industry. I'm trying to think what bodybuilder. Jerry. I'm like,
yeah.
Who? I'm like, Jerry who? She's like, Jerry Triano, and she didn't even know that I knew him. But I said, oh, I know Jerry. How did he die? He had cancer. Isn't it terrible? I said, yeah, it is terrible. But how did you know him? Oh, Rich knew him.
Yeah. What's the connection?
Rich knew him. Rich went out to eat with them once in New York City or something like that. I don't know. Jerry was he knew every top male bodybuilder. This guy, he was like I'm telling you, he probably could have written a biography about it. He knew everyone. He knew all their history of everything. If you
can ask Jay. That's funny. You can ask Jay.
Jay probably knows who he is.
No, Jay used to have people who would hook him up back in the day. This guy named Roy. Jay had a nickname for everyone before Trump had nicknames for people. So
what was Roy's nickname?
No, I don't want to say it because he may be a listener of the show.
Oh, okay.
I'm dead serious because I was going to say it, but you can ask Jay.
Yeah.
But he used to hook up Jay and me, first class anywhere that where you're going on Continental.
Oh, really? He had a connection?
Oh yeah, so Jay would get.
That's why I'm nice to everyone, because you never know who knows who. I'm just a nice person anyway to people, but if you're nice to people, a lot of times even the weirdest people sometimes have interesting connections to this or to that, and that's why you always treat everyone with respect. I always tell that.
Yeah. So, anyways, Roy could always hook me up.
So what happened when Continental went out of business, and then you guys couldn't?
I don't know. They were bought out by someone, but I think one of the hallmarks of Jay Cutler is that he stays in touch with people for when he meets you for till death, till either So I think the guy did die though. That's how his name came up recently. I think Jay told me a couple of years ago, Roy died.
If he died, then you can give us the nickname. It's not going to matter.
Well, I don't know.
He can't listen to the show if he's dead.
I'm not sure. It's Roy Annoying.
Annoying Roy?
I gave it away, Jay. Roy Annoying.
I have some nicknames of people too, believe it or not, and probably people would like the nicknames I make for them because they're good ones.
Yeah.
But your nickname is the Technician.
Yeah.
No, I just say Chris.
No, Samir christened it Chris Acetate.
Is that what he used to call you, Chris Acetate?
He still does today. To this day, ask him, what do you call Chris? Say, you mean De Palumbo? You mean Chris Acetate, Dave? I call him Chris Acetate.
Well, NASA had names for everyone too, but they were usually derogatory names, They weren't endearing.
Still to this day, he'll call me up and he'll say, or he'll usually call me up impersonating Joe Weider. Still, Samir.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Joe's dead now, so we obviously know it's Samir now. Back in the day when Joe was alive and very mentally astute, if Samir called you as Joe Weider, you might actually think it's Joe Weider.
No, you can ask Peter McGuff if he'll talk to you on this. Samir used to call up the office, and like Dave Palumbo would be working in cubicle 9, and he'd say, "Hello, Dave. This is Joe Weider calling." Oh no, he would say Joe Weider. It's like Joe. It's Joe. Get down to my office as soon as you can.
And people would run down to Joe's office.
Yeah, people would run down. People like with insignificant position at Weider Health and Fitness would be, Joe just called, and then because they'd run down to his office, and sometimes somebody would be like in the office.
That's funny. It's good stuff. Obviously, another death in our industry. Our good friend Ed Corney died. Oh
yeah, I did hear. You know what?
85 years old.
Yeah. Long life, huh? Good for him. I mean, good. 85 is.
I feel like I mentioned this before. Did we talk about this last week?
No.
Okay. I don't know. I do so many TV shows like on Ask Dave. I think I talked about it on Ask Dave. Ed Corney. I didn't know this. Someone told me that he went for a shoulder replacement surgery, and that's when he had the. I think he got a clot and he had a heart attack from that, and then they put him on blood thinners and he had 2 strokes. Remember when he had that whole problem and he was in the wheelchair?
Yeah.
That was all stemmed from a shoulder replacement surgery he had.
Crazy, right?
And he came back from it, and he was, he really said that it was bodybuilding that saved him and got him back to full strength. I don't know if you remember when he used to sit at those Europa booths. He would have that dumbbell. Remember he'd bring that big 100-pound dumbbell and he'd lift it up and do all kinds of crazy shit with it just to show everyone he's still strong. He was great. 85. Lived a good life.
Yeah.
You know who was telling me about Ed Corney? Because who was friends with him? Robbie Robinson. I interviewed Robbie Robinson this week. This week it's going to be up on the site. It was Robbie and I had been trying to get in touch with, trying to link up with, trying to get a 73. Imagine trying to get my dad on Skype to interview him, from California.
Are you trying to get Robbie on the?
Yeah, Robbie didn't really understand. He never had Skype, never used it. So it took us like 5 tries, but we finally did it, and we did the interview. And Robbie was great. I got some great stories out of him. Robbie told me. I said, Robbie, I got to ask you, because he's brutally honest. He's like, you can ask me anything you want. I said, Robbie, what when you were competing back in the day, like what would be a typical cycle? Like you would do,
Yeah, let me guess.
See if you can guess.
A shot. Wouldn't even say the milligram dose. Shot a test a week.
Never use testosterone ever.
Oh, okay. Then wait a minute. Yeah, we do want water retention, primable and tabs. Primable and.
Let me just tell you, you're never gonna guess. He used 200
less than
milligrams.
that?
200 milligrams of DECA. He would get the shot. He would get to go to the pharmacy because they all went to the same doctor and they had to get the prescription because it was legal back then.
The doctor was what's his face?
Oh, you knew the doctor? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I forget his name. I'm surprised you don't know it.
That's back before my
Ted
time.
Dixon would know it, but
yeah, Ted Dixon would. So he would go to the doctor. They get the prescription. He'd go and get the DECA shots, and he would do 200 milligrams every 10 to 14 days. Okay, and then he would use. Him and I are still going back and forth with this. He would use IV glutathione and vitamin C.
Oh, that's interesting.
Huge believer in that, and some kind of amino acid cocktail. He was like, and then the muscles would take up the glutathione and the vitamin C, and that's would give you the fullness.
Would take them up too.
Yeah, 200 milligrams of DECA though. That was it. I said, what do you mean?
No, that was the whole thing.
That was the whole cycle. And then I would say, well, what about before a show? Because we didn't use stuff in the off season, but right before a show, that's what we would do. And then the last 4 weeks, we'd use some primable and acetate, injectable. I think they used 100 milligrams once or twice a week. That was it. That was the cycle.
No, I know.
I said, well, Robbie, I'm sure some of the other guys used a little more, but he's like, maybe. But he goes, I don't think it was much more. I said, Robbie, you were essentially competing naturally. He goes, that's why. He goes, well, he's natural now. He's on nothing. I said, are you on HRT? He goes, what's that? I said, like hormone replacement. He goes, no. He goes, I feel great. He goes, he still does he does the glutathione and the vitamin C IV. That's his fountain of youth. He believes. He eats good food. He still eats 5 meals a day. He eats his chicken and his fish and rice and quinoa. And he's. Have you seen his body? He looks unbelievable.
Oh yeah, he looks phenomenal. He looks phenomenal.
I said, Robbie, do you realize that if you would have used even a little bit more gear, how good you would have been? He's like, yeah, but you know what? My goal was always to be the blackjack lane. I said, well, you're
the Jack Black. Say it. The
blackjack lane. He wants to live to 100, and he wants to be healthy living to 100. He wants to feel good. He goes, I'm sharp mentally. He goes, I feel as good as I did, 40 years ago. I'm strong in the gym. I have no joint pain. He goes to the gym 4 a.m. in the morning. He goes to Venice Golds. He still lives down the block from Venice Golds. Same place he lived in for 100 years.
Crazy. I didn't know that he lived in Venice.
Yep. He goes there 4 in the morning, and who do you think the only other person there is?
Charles.
Well, Charles is probably training people someone, but Michael Hearn. Michael Hearn trains at 4 in the morning too.
Why is Michael Hearn going at 4 in the morning?
I don't know. He likes to train. He trains crazy heavy at 4 a.m. And Robbie even said, he goes, I'm very impressed with Michael Hearn, with how much weight he lifts. But I lift heavy too. He goes, I don't go, cuckoo crazy, but I go and sometimes we work out together once in a while. I don't do, I can't lift the weight he's lifting, but he's like, yeah, we open the gym every morning. That's the two of them.
Yeah, Cormier used to do a lot of workouts with Robbie. They used to train together.
If Cormier's training with Robbie, he's going 4 a.m. in the morning because I know Robbie's not going any later than that.
Well, Cormier would leave the club and then meet him there at 4.
Right. And Robbie said he just loves training. He said, I love it as much as I did from the day I started. I said, well, I wish I could say the same. I said, but I have injuries.
Yeah.
He said, I have no injuries, nothing. There's nothing to bother me.
Well, you know what? When you take 200, I don't think.
Think about it. He only would do it before a show. So how many weeks out of a year you think he did? 10 weeks, maybe? 12 weeks?
Yeah. Well, I know what people's cycles were. I know what Bob Harris used, which was like
what did he use?
Like a joke, like 650 mgs a week.
Of what? It's total stuff.
Yeah, it was like off season he'd do a short like.
That was like a million times more than Robbie was using though.
Yeah,
but Robbie had genetics up the gazoo.
Yeah, but think what people use now.
Robbie you're going to watch the interview. I don't want to ruin it for you, but I feel like, this will inspire people to go listen to because it's better coming out of Robbie. So Robbie, when he first started competing, he lived in the South. I don't know if you know that. He was in Florida.
Yes, I know. He's from Tallahassee.
Right. He would go and do the whole circuit. He would go through Alabama. He would go to all these southern states, and it was very racist back then. And there would be signs on trees.
What do you mean back then?
Yeah, well, it's probably still better. But there was openly racist back then. They had signs on trees, and he even said this. He goes, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. He said there would be like, no niggers after dark. That was the sign on the tree. Yeah. If you were out, so Robbie said after the show is over, I would be like, we got to get out of here. Like he would be telling his friends, look, as soon as I get off stage, you have the car warmed up. I'm gonna just run right out of the thing into the car, and we're taking off because they were afraid they were going to get lynched or something like that. Yeah. And Robbie said that he did suffer race. He was a victim of racism in the sense that they didn't want black guys to win. There was no black guys competing. I said, they weren't. He goes, Dave, when I started in the 60s, there were no black guys. I was like one of the only black guys at every show. I said, holy mackerel. And of course, Robbie was completely natural back then. He didn't know anything about gear until he got out to California. He decided, well, I'm going to go out to California. I said, going to California you probably thought you found the fucking promised land there. I said, because, the racism probably was negligible there. Now he goes, yeah, it wasn't, you run into a couple things here and there, but it was nothing like the Deep South, was. So he moved out to Venice, and he met Arnold and all those guys at the gym, and they kind of took him under their wing. And Robbie was strong back in the day. I didn't know this because I asked him who do you think who was the strongest guy at Gold's Venice back in the day?
Who was the strongest back in the day?
Who would you think he said? Back in the 70s.
Strongest in the 70s. Maybe Gronkowski.
Nah. Waller was the strongest, he said. Mm-hmm. Kenny Waller. And but he would train with Waller, and he said it was good for me because it pushed me and it made me, want to. I'd have to push myself because I couldn't keep, I couldn't lift as heavy as he would, but it pushed me out of my comfort zone so that I would lift heavier. I said, how did Arnold train? He goes, Arnold trained like an animal. He goes, there was very few people who, he might not have been the strongest guy in the gym. He was pretty strong, he said, but he said no one trained harder than him, There were guys that trained as hard, but no one trained harder than it. Like, he gave 100%. He was not like just, dilly-dallying in the gym, I said, Robbie, how come guys had no legs back then?
Because they weren't an important. They didn't
still, want him. He said we wanted symmetry. We felt that it was right.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, because it wasn't a prerequisite. It wasn't something that there was a desire to have. You don't think Arnold could have got striated glutes if he wanted striated glutes?
Yeah, no, but I just never even thought of it that way. I just thought, well, maybe they didn't know how to do it, or maybe they didn't know how to train properly. And he's like, no, we didn't. Big legs weren't something that was aesthetic. We wanted the nice upper bodies and the streamlined look.
Yeah, well, you know what? People had crazy shoulders and arms and pecs.
Yeah.
And backs.
But that was what was desirable. I said, well, what did you guys think of Platz when he came around? He goes, he was a freak. Yeah, it was like, but he was out of proportion.
Yeah. They probably laughed at his physique.
But they said he did say no. He said Platz was a lunatic in the gym. He came along a little later, but. After Arnold kind of, but he said Platz was ridiculous with the squatting. He said he would go in the gym, no warm up, 500 pounds and squat it, 50 times. It was just nuts what he could do. But he said all those, when you see guys like that back in the day, it would motivate all of them. They didn't, it didn't matter that he, I said, what was it like, when you would beat a guy like, Ed Corney at the Olympia, and then you got to be back in the gym with him the next day. He's like, that was it. The competition was behind us, and we were back to training again.
Yeah, now we got a shit talking on the internet for 364 days.
Guys, social media wars. People don't even want to hang out with. No one even sees each other anymore. They just Facebook and Instagram each other, and bash each other. The only time people see each other is if they go to a show, If you think about it, right? Back in the day, they were there with each other every single day. They were in the gym together. They were like a family almost. It was. How could you be mad at your family? He goes, yeah, there was squabbles in the gym, but everyone got over it. These guys were like living together. It was like a fraternity they were in. Yeah, all right. They had one day a year they had to compete against each other, but it didn't matter. They had a different relationship. Nowadays, people are not really. They don't really know each other. They kind of know each other just from maybe talking on the phone or texting each other, but. There's really no love there. It's kind of like there's a lot of jealousy and envy, I'm sure, and then they pretend that they're friends, until they get to the contest, and then one of them beats the other, and then they're not friends anymore, right?
That's right.
Like Phil and Jay.
Well, that if you ask people from that day and age, Robbie, Arnold, what did they like most about that era? They'll tell you the camaraderie.
Mm-hmm. We missed that. I guess maybe in the beginning of our careers when you were out at Gold's Venice, there was some of that still because, everyone was kind of training out there because they wanted to be near Joe Weider and the magazines and all that stuff and the good weather. Nowadays, it doesn't matter where you live or where you train, really. People they want the convenience of it at this point. Did you see? I sent you that article, and I hate even commenting because I don't really know the situation around it. But there was an article in one of these UK newspapers that Nathan Diaz had gotten arrested for possession of steroids or something like that. I don't know if you heard anything about that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I hope it's not true. It's obviously true. He did get arrested. I hope he doesn't have to serve any time or anything like that. Well, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, man, he should have just stayed in Kuwait, right, where it's legal. Nathan had it made that day. He was in Kuwait. He was getting free gear and free food and lodging and stuff like that. He leaves there to to open his own gym and to try to be his own businessman, and he gets arrested. How terrible is that? That really makes you say, maybe I should stay in Kuwait. The whole idea that anabolic steroids are illegal anyway is ridiculous. They're legalizing marijuana, but they won't legalize.
Well, I'm just going to say, you see in, I think it was Washington State, they had given clemency or pardons to 3,500 people who are in prison for
stupid stuff.
But no, everything cannabis pot related.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because they have marijuana, legal marijuana now, and
Yeah.
they got 3,500 people waiting in prison for their whatever either their sentence or their trial or whatever it may be. So
stupid.
The governor just pardoned all 3,500 of them.
It's ridiculous. No one's killing each other over freaking marijuana. No one's killing each other over anabolic steroids. It's just it's ludicrous that you have to feel like a criminal doing your sport. Because let's face it, most 98% of bodybuilders out there are not criminals. They're just trying to do their thing, and try to look their best, and they have to try to sneak around and get anabolics. It's just it's a bad situation. And you know what? We'll look back on this in 20 years probably, and we'll be like, what were we thinking? Putting people in jail for this crap? Because eventually the prisons are going to get too full, and they're going to have to get rid of someone. They're like, you know what? Let's let the steroid and the marijuana people out of fucking prison and make some room for the real criminals.
Yeah. Well, it's
yeah.
I mean, it's what do you do with people who, right? I mean, they're in prison in other states, and you can come to Maine and buy.
Well, it's a different story if you truckload in 4 tons of the stuff. But pretty soon you'll be able to do it.
It becomes a tax issue
if
you truckloaded 4 tons ish.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but if you're some low level guy,
Well, my inside source, who I'm not going to reveal, tells me that now that Trump legalized growing of hemp. I don't know if you heard that. You can legally grow hemp. Farmers can grow hemp now. But from what I'm hearing, at least, the pharmaceutical companies will be taking over the sale of THC. And the cigarette companies will be taking over the sale of marijuana cigarettes.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
So, and does that surprise anyone? Because think about how much money these cigarette companies and the big pharma gives to the re-election campaigns of all these top politicians. So it doesn't surprise me.
Isn't it funny?
Jay told me he sold his company, I guess, his marijuana company, whatever he was doing, which was the smartest thing. Oh, yeah. Smartest thing, because you know what? He got out right before they try to, because the government's not going to let private people like him make money off this. They want to give it to they want to give it to the people who give them money for their campaign. So,
of course,
Jay got in and out. Perfect timing, as always.
Yeah, no, I knew that he was, involved somehow, but
he was big. He had but he put a lot of money into it. He told me, and I know another guy who does medical marijuana and marijuana in California, and he told me, your buddy Jay, because he knows I know Jay Cutler. He said your buddy Jay Cutler is huge. He's because I guess a lot of the marijuana in California comes from Vegas, believe it or not, and the grow house is there. It's a whole science. They grow the stuff inside. They don't grow the stuff outside anymore. It's a whole controlled environment. It's pretty funny, and just to begin with, that they were that a plant was illegal. If you think about how stupid it is. Yeah, all right. So people smoke. What if you smoked what if you could smoke eucalyptus leaves? If someone figures out a way to smoke those, you're gonna ban fucking people from having eucalyptus trees in your backyard? I got about 400 of them in my backyard.
No, I mean it's. Well, you're talking like a pothead now.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't even like marijuana. I could give a shit if they make it illegal or not. It doesn't affect my life.
Like it shouldn't.
I like the freedom for people to choose. I don't like being over-regulated. I don't like. It's one thing to put a traffic light on the corner if people are getting into accidents there. It's another thing to ban something just for the sake of banning it. Like making anabolic steroid illegality is the stupidest thing that they've ever done. And even if you ask John Romano, he can give you the whole history of how that came about. It was the dumbest decision. It was ill-informed. The congressman knew nothing about it. One congressman pushed it through, and they signed the bill. And before they even knew what they did no due diligence on the bill. There were a lot of doctors and people saying this is not the right thing to do. You shouldn't make it a controlled substance. This is back in 1990. But they were panicking because of the Olympics and people were getting caught. This the whole Ben Johnson thing, and so they panicked and they made it illegal. And once they make it illegal, it's hard to decriminalize things. So it's just the way it is, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, look at sports supplements.
Think about how much money these.
Look at sports supplements. You can't do anything, right?
Can you imagine? Look, I was in California once, and I walked into a bakery there. And I was looking at all these bakeries. I'm like, this stuff looks great. And I started ordering stuff. And then the guy's like, oh, do you have your, I just need to see your card. I'm like, what are you talking about? Marijuana card. I'm like, I don't have a marijuana card. I said, I don't want marijuana. He goes, you're in a marijuana bakery. Everything in there was made with marijuana. All the brownies.
Was the place packed or no?
What?
Was the place packed, busy?
Yeah, it was busy. Of course it was, yeah. It was like right down the block from Gold's Venice. I was just walking around. I said, I'm hungry. I'm going to go in here and grab a muffin or something like that. And it was all marijuana stuff.
Listen,
can you imagine? Can you imagine? Just wait. Let me just finish. Can you imagine if you walked into a store like that in Venice and it was all anabolic steroids, legally sold? Decaturapolline, Anadrol, testosterone, growth hormone, HCG.
Mine would be out the door. Out the door.
They'd make a fortune. Think about it. You could tax the shit out of it too, because bodybuilders don't care about it, and they just want real stuff, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. I'd love to own. I would start the franchise, man. I would love to have one of those stores. Forget about it. Make a fortune. The government could regulate it. They could tax it. No one's dying from this stuff. Crazy. They're missing the boat. The government's got to figure out ways to make more money. Sell stuff that people want. It would be easy. It would be easy peasy. That's my. What would be a good name for the store? Like, think of like we need a chain name, like for like a franchise. That we're gonna open. What would you call it?
Anabolic holics. Like alcoholics, anabolic holics.
Like the
Dave Palumbo's snake.
You'd have to call it something like very like cryptic almost,
Yeah. No, you'd have to do a play on like CVS, like what the C and the V and the S could stand for. Certified veterinarian substances.
Yeah.
Just
call it the anabolic shop.
Government. You talk about the government interfering with, pot sales, steroid sales. It made me think. Once I was doing an ad copy for Joe Weider,
right?
And I didn't know he had been sued by the FTC.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, for making claims about something that he had made, like a supplement claim, like you can gain 10 pounds from this product.
FDA, probably the FDA, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was FTC.
Oh, really?
Whoever governs advertising.
Free trade?
Yeah. Federal trade. And he had also got in trouble on a product called the Anabolic Mega Pack, which is a big seller for him.
Oh, yeah, I used those back in the day.
Of course. Jesus.
Everyone did. I saw the Lee Haney ads with Rich Kaspari and Barry DeMay. I had to buy them. Forget about it.
And... Right, there were like 90 pills of different colors and shapes.
They were expensive, but I thought I probably was building muscle from it because I was the placebo effect. So he made some claims on that. So when it came to, I was writing for him, and he said, "Can you do an ad copy for me?" So I had done this like ad copy for some type of product that he had, and he called me and he loved it. He went nuts. He loved it. I made it really shticky. So they actually ran it in the ad?
No, the lawyer got a hold of it.
Oh, okay.
And I did not know that they had been sued heavily.
Oh, you made a lot more claims than you should have.
Yeah, mine, they would have been out of business in 10 minutes based on the claims that I put in there. Right. Just I called it the flowery embellishment. And things, eventually, Dave, things got crossed off. I'm serious. The lawyer did not want me to use the word positive nitrogen balance. He did not want me to use the word muscle growth.
Yeah, because that's a claim. You have to substantiate it.
So at the end, it was like, let's say it was, a whey protein, which it wasn't. I can't even remember what it was. But it was like, this product provides 40 grams of protein. There was nothing you could write.
Right. Right. But you know what? Joe's advertising and the use of athletes was so potent back then because he had all the top athletes that he didn't even have to make claims, and people still bought it. He was always coming out with new products. He like had new products every couple of months. He would have new stuff.
Of course, he had tons of. He loved the products. He loved developing the products. And you know what? This is a true story, Dave. When he would develop like the Anabolic Mega Pack,
Right.
In his mind, if you went up there and say, "Hey, Joe, Robbie Robinson suggested I use 200 mgs of Deca a week." Is that what Robbie used, you say?
Not even every 10, 14 days.
And Joe would say, "Oh, you don't need it. I got my anabolic mega pack works much better." But he would say it convinced 100%. I keep telling these guys, you just need good quality proteins, fresh food, sunlight, lots of rest.
he believed it. I'm glad. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
I mean, he lived till he's 93.
Yeah, no, he was good. And he had a couple of medical issues, but he just, look, you live the lifestyle, you live long, It's obviously there's some genetic component too, but I think, like I always tell people, I don't want to live a long time if I'm going to be miserable and in pain and agony. I'd rather just end my life earlier. You want to live, if you're going to live to 100, you want to be cognizant of the fact that of everything that's going on, you want to feel good for 100. I believe Robbie will live to 100 years. I don't think you and I will make 100, but if we can make even 90, that would probably be good. But Robbie will definitely outlive us. There's no doubt in my mind. Robbie might make 120 the way he's going.
I just saw a lady in the news who, in Russia, she claimed to live to 122, but when she died, people found out she was the daughter. Figured that one out. She was the daughter.
The daughter of who?
Her daughter.
She was her daughter.
So apparently...
Oh, she took on the identity of the mother?
She took on the identity, the
just to defraud, to get the record?
Yes. For a tax fraud. She'd done it 50 years before.
That's funny.
Because it was going to be some inheritance tax.
Oh.
So she figured out if the daughter who died at 99 could claim, "Oh, no, I'm not the daughter, I'm the mother."
That's funny. People are...
She was on the books.
I thought she was going for the longest, the oldest age record. You're telling me she's just trying to save money. I'm like, she's going for the record.
Hey, Dave, you're big. Your wife's pregnant, and you're a big fan of Guinness Books of World Record.
Oh yeah,
you used to read that book when you were little. Do you remember the picture of the lady who was the oldest woman to conceive naturally?
I don't know if I remember that one.
She was 64 or 67.
Oh yeah, the oldest mother. Yeah, there was no artificial insemination back then anyway, so it didn't matter. That was just the oldest mother or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I do remember that. That was a good book. I wonder if they're still printing that book.
I think Stallone's ex-wife has just had a baby.
Which one?
Brigitte Nielsen.
Oh yeah, she's got to be 60, doesn't she, or in her 50s?
She just had a baby.
She was dating Flavor Flav for a while. Remember that stupid show?
Yeah, they had their own show.
Do you know? I told you the story about how I met Flavor Flav, right?
No, you didn't tell me. At the
we were going to a party, an after-hours party. And I'm trying to think what hotel it was. We were going through the hotel in Vegas looking for this party. I want to say it was the MGM, one of those hotels. And we're going through the hotel and we're everyone's a little buzzed already, I guess. And fucking Flavor Flav is out of his fucking mind coming the other direction with the fucking those big clocks. We used to have a clock around his neck. The clock around his neck, he couldn't even lift his head up.
Why did he have the clock? What was the point?
That was his whole thing. He was into clocks. I don't know. He would have a big clock around his neck, like the one you would put on the wall, only on a big gold chain. And he was fucking with us, and I'm like, Flav, what are you doing here? He was fucking blasted out of his mind. Yeah. We were laughing so hard. I don't even know why we didn't take pictures with him. I don't even know what was going on with cell. I don't think there was any cell service. I don't know what the deal was. Maybe we didn't even think about it. But Flav was out of his mind. And I'm thinking, this is the guy that was married, that was dating or whatever he was, Brigitte Nielsen, who was beautiful back when Stallone was dating her.
You know who was who? Oh wait a minute, I don't know if I
Mark
can say that. You know who?
Mark Gastineau.
Wait a minute. Yeah, but who else was she with at the same time as?
Oh, I don't know. Who else?
Arnold.
Oh, she was with Arnold too. I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure. Google it.
Well, was Arnold married at the time or no?
Yeah.
Oh. I never heard that rumor. I'm sure you're probably right. But he did that Red Sonja movie with her, right?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Well, so she was hot back in the day. She was a big like Amazonian like woman, and everything like that, and she's good looking. And then I saw her on that Flavor Flav show years later, and wow, she was a train wreck. She didn't age well.
I think she was coming out. I think she was a drug addict. So she had been, because she was on that show like with Dr. Drew about rehab.
Oh, was she? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's. She was the mess. Yeah, she was.
Oh yeah. Here he is. Look at this. I had an affair with Brigitte Nielsen. Arnold Schwarzenegger confirms he cheated.
Oh wow.
On his wife Maria Shriver with Danish actress.
Wow, didn't know that. Poor Stallone. Stallone left his wife for her, and he was really in love with her, from what I understand. And she fucking cheated on Stallone with Mark Gastineau, the New York Jet, and probably a bunch of other people too. And Stallone really gave her the break. He got her in the movies. He put her in Rocky IV. He did that movie Cobra with her. I actually ran into her in there was a Modell's in East Meadow where my dad lived, and I don't even know what I went in there for, but I go in there and everyone's like whispering to each other, and I'm like, what are they whispering about? This was back in the 90s, and Brigitte Nielsen was in the store, and she was she's like 6'2". She's you can't miss her. With that short hair dude, and sure enough, she was there, and I was pretty big at the time. I walked past her, and she kind of like gave me like a little wink. I don't know. It wasn't like I don't think it was a wink like I want to hook up with you. It was just like an acknowledgement like wink, and I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool. I guess because what happened was the New York Jets would practice down the block from this Modell's in Hofstra Stadium, which was a college in Long Island. And so she must have been, while he was practicing, she was doing some shopping, and which I don't know why she was shopping Modell's, but she obviously was in there looking for something, and so I ran into her. But that's my run-in with Brigitte Nielsen. And now so who's the father of this kid?
Which kid?
You said she's pregnant.
I think it was.
That was the whole purpose.
I thought it was Flavor Flav. Let's see.
No, it can't be Flavor Flav.
No, I think she's got like a 29-year-old boyfriend or something.
Oh, really? That's funny. How old? She's got to be 60, right? Look, Wikipedia.
Let's see. Well, Brigitte, as you call it, Nielsen. Oh, explains how she got pregnant at 54.
Oh, 54. Oh, so she's not that old.
Oh yeah. See, she's got she's got a guy who's like, let's see. She has 5 kids, and I think her boyfriend is like 17 or something.
You know what the funny thing is? These Scandinavian
39.
women... These Scandinavian women are so beautiful when they're younger, and they don't... When they hit like... And not all of them, of course, but a lot of them, when they hit their like later 40s, everything... They lose. It's like the Irish people. The Irish people, aren't they the most beautiful people when they're younger? They have these little small noses and fine features and just good-looking people, and then they age terribly. I thought it was from all the alcohol they drink, but I just think that you can't have everything. Us Italians, we don't look so good when we're younger, but when we age good.
Listen, Dave,
I think it's all the oil in our skin.
I really hope. Let's see. I will give you the age. When I used to run around town working. I'll tell you what, let's see, 17, 52 minus 17, 35. When I was 35, I told you that, I think, on the previous radio show, people thought my father was my brother.
That's funny.
I was 35, so he's 50, 60, 70, 80. So he must have been like 68, 71, something like that.
Right.
And so just call him 70, and I was 35, and not everyone... But sometimes people would say, like I'd say, oh, and here's my father, and they'd look at like confused.
Yeah, but you would have dad have his full head of hair and everything like that, right?
Yeah, full head. He had not one gray at 70. He'd never even heard of a hair dye product.
And he hadn't gotten a gray yet?
No gray, no gray at 70. He had
good genetics.
Black hair and not a wrinkle to be found.
Wow.
I mean, not even one.
Yeah, well, that's good for you. I mean, you might lose your mind, but at least you'll look good.
Yeah. Well,
my dad
was Irish, so everything may crack.
My dad's like, don't worry about it. He goes, you're gonna age well. He told me. I said, he says, you might be in a lot of pain. He goes, from arthritis. He goes, but you're going to age well. You'll look good on the outside. I said, well, thank you, Dad. I said, that's something that I could look forward to. Appreciate the kind words. Unbelievable. So, someone approached me about doing a meal prep service. I wouldn't do anything. They wanted me to design some of the recipes, and they want to do it like an Italian meal prep service, like so that like it would be all Italian style. The food would be healthy, obviously, and it would all be, low carb type stuff. They would have.
Good idea. It's a good idea.
I said, well, I'm open to it. This guy's got access to all these top chefs and everything like that. I said, send me the meals. Let me see. I'll sample them. I'm a tough critic. I said, so send me the meals. I went to the bagel store the other day, as I told you I do every weekend, and they gave me sport. First of all, my wife and I order chicken salad. We order the same thing every time we go there. She gets chicken salad. I get tuna. I said to my wife, I don't think this is the chicken salad. It tastes like tuna. I said, taste this. She's like, I don't want to taste it. I don't like tuna. It's going to ruin my whole... I won't be able to eat the rest of my meal. I said, I think it's tuna. I don't want to be a complainer. So I said, I looked at it and I compared it to hers, and I said, this is definitely going to be tuna. So I went back and I said to them, I said, I don't know what happened. We ordered chicken salad. We ordered the same. They know our order. I'm like, I don't think this is... I feel like I'm like being a troublemaker. So they take it back and they give me chicken salad. So obviously it was wrong. I bite into the chicken salad now. And it tastes, how like when chicken salad's going bad, it gets like a little bit of a sour taste to it.
Exactly what it tastes like.
So I'm like, I said to the man, I said, I can't eat this. I said, it doesn't taste good. It's gonna.
Take it back.
So I went up to him. I said, look, I come here every weekend. I've been coming here for 2 years. I said, I'm not a troublemaker. This chicken salad's terrible. She's like, well, I don't know what to do. So I said, they probably ran out of chicken salad, and they knew the old batch wasn't good, so they probably gave me tuna instead rather than ask me. And then when I asked them to get me, they probably gave me the old batch. So I said, give me eggs. I'll just eat eggs on a bagel. What the hell at this point? I get the eggs, and I realize that they're not real eggs. You know how like they have come in, like you can buy, I guess they can buy eggs in cartons, all pre-mixed. Eggs in cartons don't taste the same.
What is not real?
You could buy, and the only reason I know this is from when I was in jail. We would get these big, like sealed plastic bags. They had to be like hold like 5 gallons of egg in there. And I read the ingredients, and the ingredients would be like eggs and like EDTA, which is like prevents congealing of the eggs. And when we would make these things, they would never taste like real eggs. But in prison, you get no protein.
Okay.
So
yeah.
who cares? You just fucking suck it down. And they were giving you 1 ice cream scoop of the stuff. So it was probably like, 10 grams of protein. I didn't care. But now...
You're worried about getting small.
Right. Now I'm not in jail. I want to eat something that tastes good. And I don't really like putting cheese on my stuff. So I get the eggs. And I'm like, man, these things suck. These are not eggs. They don't even taste... They don't have to... They're horrible. So now I can't complain, because at this point now they're going to start. I'm afraid they're going to spit in my food, right? So we go back the next day, and I'm like, we ordered the chicken salad again, and I'm like, the guy's like, remembers me. He goes, I made new chicken salad this morning. I said, good. I said, because the chicken salad was horrible. I said, yes, thanks. So thank God so they must have definitely run out, and they must have given me an old batch. They probably had something in the back of the refrigerator. That guy give that pain in the ass the fucking old shit back there. So that was my egg, and that was my meal, my bad meal experience. But I'm not one of these guys that if I get a bad meal someplace, it doesn't turn me off. I'll go back again. I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Some people can never eat there again. They get skeeved out. It doesn't bother me.
I wonder if those people, did you ever say bye to the diner people up the street from your house?
I didn't. They probably like, what the hell happened? They probably were.
They probably thought you died or something.
Yeah, they probably out of business. I must have told them I was moving. I can't imagine I didn't, because we were there every night.
You got Alzheimer's. You can't even remember.
I can't. I don't. I flush. You know how like some people like do the recycle bin and they on their computer and get rid of all the junk on the desktop. I do that every at least once every month. So if it's useless information, I flush it out of my brain. I don't need to remember it. I'm afraid I'm running out of hard drive space. That's what I'm afraid.
Well, I would agree with you. That's why I don't even file it in the first place.
I don't know anyone's name. If it's not important, I don't remember it. But I could tell you I could tell you a lot of snake information because to me that's important. You know, I could tell you the names of all the anabolic steroids, all that stuff because that stuff's important. Because I talk about it.
It might be a theory, the Dave Palumbo hard drive theory of Alzheimer's. Like there's just only so much space up there. I mean,
that's right.
Trump believes in the battery space with energy, right? He says, if you exercise too much, you expend your time, your battery, your energy.
He's right. I'll tell you why. Since I haven't been, going
I
to
think
the gym.
he might be right, actually.
He's right. Since I stopped working out at the gym because I don't have time, and now that my shoulder replacement, I got a ton of more energy. I'm super alert during the day. When I go to the gym. The 1 or 2 times a week I can go when I'm healthy. Yeah. I have to come back to the office and I want to almost take a nap. I can't even function. So it definitely saps you. You can't sleep 4 hours at night and then go to the gym and not come back and want to be functional.
Yeah, well,
but if you don't go to the gym, you can sleep 4 hours a night and get away with it.
Yeah, I can function on 5. If I went to the gym, then I would be.
You'd need 2 or 3 more probably. Yeah. The gym, when you break down muscle, you definitely that's the controlled experiment. I am convinced of the reason why I needed so much sleep, and I think why I was such good at growing when I was actually in my bodybuilding days because I slept a lot. I think a lot of these guys don't sleep a lot, maybe because they have jobs and they have family and stuff like that. And I think that really saps your ability to grow and recover. Look at a baby. Babies grow like
I've
weeds,
always used baby as an analogy.
And they sleep, 12 hours, except my kids, but they sleep 12 hours a day, at least, and then they take naps on top of that because they need that sleep. That's when their body is recovering and growing. And they get up every 2 hours, to drink a bottle, get some protein in there. If you're a bodybuilder, you got to live like a baby. You got to mimic the life of a baby. That's the truth.
You're right.
And if you talk to these yoga people, the Korean yoga people, they'll tell you that you should play like a baby too. They say that that's good for the mind.
I would agree with that too.
Dance and they, when I took this yoga class, they would have you skip around and sing and dance and act like fools. But that's you have to be more like a baby.
I sent you my full video today, right?
You did.
Because you told me about sword playing last.
Chris is sword fighting with his son in slow motion.
That was from like 3 years ago.
I liked it. My son is if you ever got a sword on you, he watches these movies. It's the Thor movies, Thor against the Hulk. He takes that sword and swings it. I'm telling you, if you ever hit a baseball with that thing, he would hit it out of the ballpark. This kid at 3 years old swings that sword. I'm telling you, with such might. Sometimes it misses the sword and hits my fingers. I got bruises and lacerations on my fingers from him swinging this sword. I bought him. What a bad move that was on my part.
He's going to get to that knee after you have it replaced.
Yeah, I don't know. I got him lightsabers because I basically bought them because I wanted them, and now I have someone who could actually play lightsaber, sword fights with me. And because we were doing them in the store, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to buy these things. They're like $5-10 each. And he goes through them like crazy because he's a maniac swinging and whacking these things. But and if God forbid you turn around, you get whacked in the face with the thing, So you got to really pay attention while you're fighting him. I have to call timeout, otherwise, if I have to go do something, I can't have him coming up behind me and swatting me with the thing. So I'm like, all right, timeout. We're taking a break now. Put the sword down.
Well, we had Hot Wheels. Now they got swords and video games.
I don't like the guns and stuff like that, but the swords are fine. I didn't, his birthday's coming up this Wednesday. He'll be 3. I bought him. I haven't given it to him yet. I bought him the Thor helmet, war helmet. Now the reason I did that because he's got this like stupid like. He took this lining of like some other like fireman's hat he had. You know how they have those like little fitted linings?
Oh, yeah.
And he wears that alone. He looks ridiculous. It looks like he's got... I don't even know what it looks like. It's just the lining. It's not the hat. And he pretends that's his Thor like war helmet. So I actually got him the real... He's going to go crazy when he sees this thing. And I got him the Thor hammer too. he's gonna be wreaking havoc wearing that war helmet because he'll wear it to the store. He doesn't care. He does, he likes to dress up now. That's his thing. He'll have the Thor helmet. He's got the hammer. He's got the helmet, and I forget what else we bought him. My wife wanted to get him the gauntlet from Thanos gauntlet, the Rithmianic gauntlet there. The only thing we don't like is because when he gets the sword and he gets a little crazy, he yells "Die, die!" My wife's like, "Don't say that."
They're gonna think you're crazy.
Don't say that. Look, please don't say that. Look, he doesn't know. Because the movies, they're good. The kids' movies, but they're a little violent. But well, guys, I just want to remind you, there is the Lee Priest Iron Rage about why New Year's resolutions suck. You might want to check that out. There's a new interview up from Dubai. I interviewed Michelle Lewin, who just reached, by the way, 13 million followers on Instagram, Chris.
Wow.
13 million.
So how's she monetize it?
She sells everything. I don't know. She's got a supplement line out now. She got the clothing, I think, is where she really makes a lot of money. And she gets appearance fees. She goes, people fly her everywhere. She's a social media one. She doesn't even compete anymore. And I have the William Bonac interview I did also up on the site. You might want to check that out.
You asked about your boy...
Who, Louis?
Yeah.
No, I didn't ask about that. We thought it was a good interview. People like it. And I think this week we have the Boogeyman, Blessing Awabadu, going up on the site as well. So there was still a lot of Dubai interviews we haven't put up yet. We've been peppering them up onto the site. I don't want to put everything up at one time. Of course, we have all our regular programming back. We never missed a beat with the Heavy Muscle Radio, of course. I think we're going to start doing some iron debates, too, since we got the Arnold, coming up soon. And, everything's kind of just mellowed out in the world of bodybuilding, which is good because it allows us to talk about whatever we want. Some people love when we talk about crazy, our lives and that kind of stuff. Some people hate it. It doesn't really matter. I just talk about whatever. I'm at a point where I just talk about whatever I think is relevant.
Well, how many front doubles can you talk about?
That's right. Well, there's no one really hitting any front doubles right now. Everyone's kind of in holiday mode. I don't know. Have you noticed a lot of your clients are kind of like off the reservation a little bit, eating whatever they want?
Yeah, I just know some people have way off the reservation, so to speak.
I told people, enjoy the holidays. I said, but after January 1st, it's back to work. So now I'm kicking everyone's ass back in shape. And it's funny. A lot of people, and it makes sense, of course. And I'm sure you probably noticed this too. I've gotten 1 million signups with people for coaching over the last probably 2 weeks, because now people are guilty and the season's coming up and they got to start, dieting and getting back in shape. And so a lot of people doing the detoxes I've been sending out, I email out for free to people 3-week detoxes, trying to get themselves cleaned out so they can really hit it hard. This contest season, it's a big year. Obviously, they got more shows than ever before. Did you see, I don't know if you saw, they added a Masters USA Championships now. They had the Masters Nationals for 1 million years. Now they're holding, I think Tamer El Gunti's holding it out in California at one of the LA shows. But they're having a Masters USA Championships where they're obviously probably going to give away 1 million pro cards. So that's yet another option to get a pro card at the end.
Yeah, of the year. I didn't see it.
Yeah. So I think look at this point, who cares at this point? Might as well have it. God forbid they give away a fucking pro card to the open bodybuilders at the Junior USA and Junior Nationals, though. That hell will freeze over before they do that, right? But they'll give out 40 pro cards at the Masters USA
You've talked about that
Championships.
for a long time.
It's going to happen eventually.
No, I agree with you.
They will.
I'm
They're
sure
going to
it's
have to
gonna
do
happen
it.
at some
They're
point.
crazy not to. I don't know why they don't. Give one pro card. Give the overall winner a pro card, for God's sakes. What's the difference? You're giving 2 pro cards off at the Nationals already. The classic physique guys can get pro cards pretty much everywhere. You can go to another country now and get a pro card. You don't even have to stay inside the U.S. anymore. You can go to the Virgin Islands or wherever they're holding these.
No, I know they're everywhere.
You can go to Canada. You can go anywhere and get a pro card now. Which is great. It should always have been open like that for people to go wherever they want. But what's the big deal? Give the Junior USA and Junior Nationals are probably right up there with any international show on the circuit as far as quality competitors and bodybuilding.
Well,
Might as well give a pro card out.
If you took a junior show and you said we are going to give a pro card to the overall winner, I mean, the turnout would be insane.
Much bigger, right? Much better turnout. Absolutely, I agree. All right, Chris, we're approaching the hour and 20-minute mark. I don't know how we did it, but when we don't have any agenda, we always speak a lot longer, and for give people a lot more to hear and percolate. People always say to me, the longer the show, the better, because we do it during cardio. So I said, well, how much cardio you do? But, we like to make it last sometimes, 1 or 2 sessions. I said, all right, well, I try to make it longer. Sometimes Chris and I start too late and we can't do it, but tonight we started a little earlier today. Yeah. It's only 12:15 now in the morning, so I guess we should send, once again, I wanted to send out some prayers to the Ed Corney family, of course, and the Darryl Stafford family. Terrible to see these guys pass, especially Darryl. He was only 58 years old. And anytime we lose someone in the industry, it always sucks. But and I know people tell me, look, people die all the time in all walks of life. It's not just the bodybuilding industry, but especially the guys from the 70s, 80s, 90s. Everyone knew them. It was such a small community. Nowadays, if someone dies in our industry, a lot of times you don't even know who they are because there's so many people competing. But everyone knew everyone back in the day because it was a very, very small knit community of IFBB pros. So I think it hits home a little harder when we hear some of the legends of our industry passing, and I like to acknowledge them. I think it's important. But for now, though, we are out of time. Until next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone.